Close call caught on camera. Watch as a wrong-way driver zips along the 401 in Milton. We're going to show you that video a little later on. Amazingly, no one was hurt. The charges the motorist is facing.
Well, the city's attempt to clear an encampment at Duffren Grove Park met with pushback. Why some living here say they're staying put.
Several arrests in two separate home invasions in Vaughan, one involving a firearm. The latest on what York police are calling Project Timer.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Melissa Duggan. Welcome to Live at 5. A Toronto man is facing charges following a terrifying situation caught on camera. OPP releasing video today of a driver going the wrong way on the 401 in Milton.
Okay, for more on this, let's go live to CP24, CJ Lou. CJ.
Bakari, Melissa, this was just a scary situation for drivers. They couldn't see this one coming, but OPP releasing this video of a driver driving the wrong way on the 401, warning people to be vigilant on the road. And this was a prime example of that. Take a look at this close call. OPP showing us this dash cam video. You see the car driving here on the westbound lanes of the 401 in Milton near James Snow Parkway. This was Sunday, September 7th, around 6 o'clock at night, but they're driving here in the middle lane, and then out of nowhere a car pops up driving the wrong direction and driving very fast. Police tell us this car going the wrong way sideswiped a number of cars. This car narrowly missed it, just had milliseconds of time to decide how to avoid it, and eventually that car driving the wrong way hit a light pole, hit the cement, but then the driver tried running away, but it wasn't long after when police were able to make that arrest. And now a 21-year-old man from Toronto is facing a number of charges, including dangerous driving, failing to remain at the scene, and driving the wrong way on a divided highway. Police are also looking into whether he was sober at the time, so impaired driving charges may be something coming in the future, although those charges have not been laid. But police really just saying this is such a scary situation for drivers, especially how fast that car was driving. They couldn't give us an exact speed, but say he was driving fast, and especially when you're driving the wrong direction, this could have easily led to a head-on collision that would have caused fatalities. But here's more from OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt on what happened here.
We're trying to determine what the circumstances were. We're looking into impairment as well as being a contributing factor. No charges of impairment at this time. But as soon as someone gets onto a highway like that, our 911 center gets lit up with 911 calls. And when you see it happening in front of you, by the time that first car in front of this driver that we're looking at from the dash cam swerves out of the way, this driver had just a flash of a second, less than a second, to take evasive action.
And police really saying milliseconds made the difference here, and especially considering there was good driving conditions. It was sunny out. There was no rain. It was during the day. Had conditions been different, if it was nighttime, if there was snow, if there was rain, this situation could have been a lot worse. So when it comes to preventing this, of course, you never know when a wrong-way driver is going to come down, but police really saying it is extremely important to be vigilant, to make sure you are attentive on the roads, because this situation, Bakari, Melissa, could have turned a lot worse, and just amazing that no one was injured in this case.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's CJ Lou. Well, 3 people have been arrested in 2 home invasions in Vaughan. This is in the last several weeks.
York police releasing details of the investigation they're dubbing Project Timer, which was launched after 2 separate home invasions on Timber Creek Boulevard on August 31st and then on September 10th. In both incidents, multiple armed suspects forced their way into the homes, and in one case, police say a firearm was involved. The suspects left both scenes in a dark SUV.
Our investigators were monitoring a suspect vehicle that was identified as part of this ongoing series. Fortunately, they intervened before a home invasion occurred in the area of Scarlett Road and Yorkley Avenue in Toronto. During the arrest, 2 suspects did manage to evade that arrest and managed to escape the area. 3 suspects were taken into custody, and a loaded firearm was recovered.
22-year-old Zachary Boyce of No Fix Address, 21-year-old Jacoy Montague of Toronto, and 22-year-old Jaquel Watson of Ajax. They're charged with armed robbery, disguised with intent, and weapons offenses. So police say that the suspects may be involved in other incidents around the GTA. Investigators have not released a description of the two outstanding suspects. It's 5:05. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24 traffic specialist Angela Enciaya-Bois.
Yeah, Bakari continues to be quite the crawl home from work and school this hour. So if your travels take you in towards Pickering, in particular on the 401 eastbound just through Whites Road, it does appear we are still dealing with this collision that is in the two left lanes. So because of this problem, here's what the delay looks like. It's as far back as Meadowvale and keeps getting slower because this problem is continuing to linger. Then southbound on the 400, this is south of Finch, heads up for a collision blocking that left lane as well as the left shoulder, impacting the northbound drive as drivers slow to take a look. And we were dealing with some problems. Toronto bound on the QEW. This was just past Burloak. Collision, which is off to the side now, was one time blocking the HOV as well as the left lane. So that's a little bit of good news. Not the best news on the Gardner, though. Pretty slow exiting the downtown core, pretty much starting from Jarvis in sections out to Grand. Eastbound loading up as you head into the downtown core. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Thanks for that, Adjoa. We're going to stick with the roads now. A man is dead after he was struck by a car in the city's downtown.
And this happened around 12:30 in the morning. This is on Sherbourne, north of Shooter. Police say that a 28-year-old man was hit by a southbound Ford Fusion driven by a 43-year-old man. The man on the road was trapped and had to be extricated by firefighters.
It was reported to police that a man in his 20s was lying on the roadway at the time of this collision. Emergency services attended the scene of this collision and administered life-saving measures. However, very unfortunately, the victim succumbed to his injuries and he was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Police are asking residents, businesses and drivers who may have security or dash camera footage of the area or incident to contact investigators.
And two men from Windsor have been arrested in a violent carjacking in Brampton.
20-year-old Partik Itan and 22-year-old Simranjit Singh are charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault and robbery. Peel police say a man was stabbed in the throat during a test drive after arranging a meeting to sell his vehicle through Facebook Marketplace in May. The vehicle was recovered in Windsor the next day. Itan and Singh were arrested earlier this month in connection with the carjacking.
It's 5:07, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
We're following developments at Duffren Grove Park this evening as residents of an encampment are being met with bylaw enforcement. Here's a live look at the scene. We've got the very latest here coming up. The city is planning to dismantle an encampment near Duffren and Bloor after a trespassing notice was issued to people living there on Friday.
Okay, let's go live to CP24. Steve Ryan, who's joining us with more from Duffren Grove Park. Steve.
Yeah, Bakari and Melissa, people that were living in this park, some of them say they've been here for 300 plus days. They were served a trespass notice on Friday, advising that if they do not leave the park by 9 o'clock today, they would be deemed to be trespassing. Now, what we're showing you right now, Albert is zooming in on some of the abandoned tents that are off in the distance. Those people took the city up on their offer and went to a shelter. So city workers are now dismantling those tents, but there are still 7 people who are refusing to leave, and they say they will continue calling this place home until they can get some sort of a deal with the City of Toronto when it comes to proper housing. These 7 people said that they are afraid to go into shelters due to past experiences. They were subjected to violence and to thefts, and they don't feel that it's a safe place to go into. And they've said that it would be a rinse and repeat. If they went into a shelter, they'd be out of the shelter, and then they'd be back on the streets again. So they had a meeting with the City of Toronto this afternoon, and I spoke with one of the people staying here in the park, one of the 7. Her name is Cece, and she said that the city said to them that if they are not out of the park by 6 p.m. tonight, they will be removed. Now, there is an arrest authority under the Trespass to Property Act. It's provincial legislation that allows for a police officer, and I have not seen any police officers here, by the way, or a peace officer to remove a person with force if they refuse to leave. And the strength of that arrest authority for a peace officer comes under the Trespass to Property Act, and it's a security guard who is acting as an agent on behalf, in this case, the city. City owns this property. The city wants people removed. The security have that same arrest authority as a police officer. But I don't think it's going to come to that, and I'd be very surprised if anybody came in here at 6 p.m. to remove these 7 people who are continuing to stay in this park. I get the distinct impression that city workers are going to work with these 7 people and try to come up with another solution so they can find a place that they can call home that's not a shelter. Here is more from CC, who I spoke with a short time ago after they finished their meeting with the city, and here's more from a person from the City of Toronto as well. Let's listen to both.
What we've been told so far is that the city and or the encampment office is going to continue with their offers of shelter spaces or temporary shelters instead of actually coming to the table and offering what we're asking for, which is apartments instead. They've decided that they think that they can continue to whittle us down, but we're deciding to stay fast and wait for a proper offer instead of being willing to give up and hopefully get something in the future.
Staff have been here almost every day for over 200 days. We started with 56 residents of the encampment. We're now down to 7. Who have accepted indoor space, and that work continues in earnest with the collective. Still meeting with residents, still trying to understand their needs, still trying to connect them to the supports that they need.
So those 7 people have vowed to stay here in the park until there's another solution offered to them. They are expecting the 6 o'clock time frame to come and go, and they said they'll deal with it if, in fact, somebody tries to remove them by force.
Okay, you guys. We'll see what happens when those timelines come up. We appreciate that update, Steve. It is 5:13, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And the Maple Leafs make their return to Toronto as the team opens up its training camp, looking ahead to what they hope is a successful season. Those details are next. And the Maple Leafs open training camp today as they prepare for the new season.
We're going live now to CP24's Phil Perkins for more on how the team is moving ahead after losing star winger Mitch Marner. Are they doing okay?
Well, we'll have to see. You would think they want to treat this as a clean slate. They're moving forward. We're thinking about the future. We brought a great crew of players in. Apparently, according to GM Brad Treliving, there's a lot of competition out there, minimal spots to be had. However, of course, the first day of training camp at the Ford Performance Center in Etobicoke, a lot of the questions were about, what are you going to do without Mitch Marner, who they traded to the Las Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Nicholas Waugh. And there's been a couple other players that have added to the team. I'll talk about them in a second. But it seems like Coach Craig Berube wants to move on. He told reporters that, honestly, he says he's glad he doesn't have to hear the term Core 4 anymore. Because when you talk about since they drafted Mitch Marner 10 years ago, which is amazing to think about. They did great in the regular season, but their playoff success was minimal. Last year, of course, they punched their ticket to the second round for the first time in a while, only to face the eventual Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Took them to 7, the only team to actually do that. But they got embarrassed at home, losing 6-1. So we heard from GM Brad Treliving about the new crop of players they're bringing in, as well as Mitch Marner's buddy, his go-to guy, Austin Matthews, about heading into the new season.
If you just look at our roster right now, there's more bodies than there is seats, right? So that to me is a good thing, right? A lot of times, and let's be honest, you can write in some of the names. We know who the names are, but a lot of times you'll come into camp and all the seats are full. There's competition, and yeah, if you can help us win, if you're 20 or 35, we don't really care what your birth certificate says. If you can help us win, you're going to get an opportunity.
For myself, over the last couple of years, and I think this summer especially, I think you kind of look internally at what's maybe working for you, what hasn't worked. I've always kind of enjoyed different challenges of going into the summer and change, whether it's routine, workout style, stuff like that on ice. So, I think it's just kind of as the season goes along, being able to manage that. I mean, it's a pretty condensed season, similar to, the COVID year with the Olympics and all that. But the main focus right now is obviously camp.
This is Coach Craig Berube's second year. He's all about bringing that aggressiveness. As they brought Nicholas Roy, he's 6'4", big dude. Dakota Johnson, 6'3", played with Coach in St. Louis, and as well as Matthias Michelli and Michael Pizzetta, who is from Toronto. So, yeah, they brought in 4 guys, losing Mitch. We'll see how it all pans out. Puck drop for the first regular season game, October 8th against the Montreal Canadiens at home. Back to you guys.
Okay, joining us live from the newsroom, CP24's Phil Perkins.
Coming up real fast there.
Yeah. Well, the Philadelphia Flyers have confirmed goaltender Carter Hart is not going to return to the team following a high-profile sexual assault trial in London.
The Flyers say Hart is seeking a fresh start after being away from the team for 18 months. The NHL announced earlier this month it was reinstating Hart, Dylan Dubé, Michael McLeod, Cal Foote, and Alex Formenton. And the 5 former World Junior players were acquitted of sexual assault stemming from an incident in 2018. They are eligible to sign a contract October 15th and play in games on December 1st.
The Ottawa Senators have also announced that Alex Formenton will not be coming back to the organization. The team's general manager says that he spoke to Formenton's agent and they agreed it was best to give him a fresh start elsewhere. The 26-year-old last played for Ottawa during the 2021-22 season when he recorded 18 goals and 14 assists in 79 games.
The Blue Jays will be looking for their 7th win in a row after another dramatic finish in last night's game.
And the 0-2. Got him!
All right, so the Jays are known for their comebacks, but last night it was Toronto that had to hold off the Rays, who had 2 on base and just 1 out in the 9th. Reliever Jeff Hoffman got the job done. The Jays win it 6-5. Their 6th straight victory. Kevin Gausman gets to start tonight. And TSN radio host Matt Cos talked to CP24 Breakfast about what he's watching out for with the Jays as well as the Leafs right now.
For me, the big issue is still going to be the Blue Jays. 4 games up on the Tigers. What does it mean not to have Bo Bichette, who is now out for the rest of the regular season? How does that impact them and really be available for the playoffs? And then on the Leafs side of things, it's what is the number one big question? And all roads, again, lead back to Austin Matthews. His health. Can he score more? Can he become more of a playmaker? Because the team is going to need him to do more. Not having Mitch Marner there, that's a lot of offensive creativity out of the lineup. How does Austin Matthews help to fill those gaps?
So there are the hockey hopes, and here are the baseball hopes. So look at the standings right now. With the win last night, the Jays maintained their 5-game lead on the Yankees, who beat the Twins 10-9. The Red Sox fell 2-1 to the A's, so they fall 7 games behind the Jays in the American League East.
Right now it's 5:21, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
You may want to wait until tomorrow to fill up your gas tank. We are going to tell you why. Yeah, it might be cheaper. Stay with us.
Drivers are in for a big drop at the pumps. This is as stations switch over to a cheaper blend of winter gasoline.
Dan McTagg, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy, says much of the province will see a 10-cent drop tomorrow. The summer blend, it contains more alkylate, while the winter blend uses more butane, a much cheaper component.
Okay, joining us live to break down what we can expect at the pumps is Dan McTagg, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. So, Dan, I'm looking at my watch right now. What time tonight can I go get cheap gas?
At midnight tonight, the highest price you'll be paying here in the GTA right across much of Ontario will be $1.33.9. So if you can hold on another 5-6 hours, you should be safe to save what amounts to a couple of cups of coffee. But more than that, it's likely to remain lower, at least until April the 15th, because that's when we'll see prices move back up to reflect what's happening with this seasonal shift in the spec of gasoline that we're using. So, yeah, bottom line, wait till midnight. And you know what? I've said this to a lot of people. I never buy my gasoline ever, especially in the GTA, until after 6 p.m. because gas stations give away yet another 5 to 10 cents a liter, depending on where you are.
Take your advice. So, Dan, I'm also wondering, this is a seasonal thing that we see. We see the prices drop every fall like we're about to see right now. But I wonder how this season compares to previous ones.
Well, previous seasons, we've seen some instances where the price goes up dramatically, as much as 8 or 9 cents a liter, and comes down maybe 3 or 4 cents a liter. It really depends on where the market is early fall or these early days of September. What we've seen now, of course, is a pretty significant jump in gas prices in the United States. As far as the market is concerned, demand is very high. At one point, I saw gas was about 33 cents a gallon more expensive this last August and September than September and August of 2024. That's why we saw prices remaining fairly high despite the 20-cent drop in carbon taxes. That's the first carbon tax. But we have to remember the United States really determines the price we pay here in Canada. And of course, a Canadian dollar, the stronger it gets, the more purchase power we have. The weaker it gets, the more you have to pay. 24 cents a liter on every liter is the result of the weak Canadian dollar.
Okay, Dan, I want to pick up on something you mentioned. Does it really matter the time of day that you get gas, the price you pay?
Very much so. Gas stations only have control over the last 10 cents on a liter of gasoline. The rest is all determined by markets and the Canadian dollar and taxes. The gas station often starts in the morning, and it will do so tomorrow morning at $1.33.9, pretty much everywhere here across the GTA. By the afternoon, that could drop to about $1.30, $1.29. By late after supper, 6 o'clock around this time, you're going to see gas prices 8 cents below $1.33, so $1.25 at many stations throughout the GTA. And that doesn't matter if you're Brampton, Mississauga, Oakville, Pickering, Oshawa. This is the kind of game we've seen played at gas stations as they compete for ever more numbers of people to come and get fuel at their locations. Why? Gas bars tend to get better deals when they move bigger volumes. And so they're always chasing that. And if they're not going to lose any money doing it, then why not?
Well, so many of us are watching our budgets so closely right now, so that's some great advice to share. And you're also mentioning that we could maybe see another dip later on this week in the prices at the pumps?
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of confidence in the market right now. So I'm looking at a 2.5 cent a gallon decrease today. That's good enough for another penny to 2 cents. So we could be down to the top end of $1.31.9 Friday and into Saturday. That, of course, can change on a moment's notice. But, AffordableEnergy.ca has the website to which gives you the 2-day gas price prediction, as does Gas Price Wizard. I administer both of those and to try to make sure that people have that information long before they make a decision to buy or not to.
Okay, and with that, a 10-cent drop per liter of gas happening at midnight. Dan McTagg, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Bakari. Thanks, Melissa.
Sharing some good news for us. Thanks so much for that. It is 5:28, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Okay, coming up. This driver caught going the wrong direction on the 401, now facing multiple charges. The latest details and reaction, that's coming up. And the city's attempt to clear an encampment at Duffren Grove Park met with pushback, why some living here say they're staying put.
Close call caught on camera. Watch as a wrong-way driver zips along the 401 in Milton. Amazingly, no one hurt. What charges is the 21-year-old motorist now facing?
And how about some hockey?
Yeah.
The Maple Leafs, they're kicking off training camp. What the team is saying about the season ahead.
This is Live at 5. Hello, I'm Melissa Duggan.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. So the city is planning to dismantle an encampment near Duffren and Bloor. This is after a trespassing notice was issued to people living there. This was on Friday.
CP24's Steve Ryan, he is there joining us with more from Duffren Grove Park. And Steve, you're saying there are some deadlines that could be coming up real quick here.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because we just got clarification from city staff, and that is not true. There is no deadline. The residents that were in that meeting misunderstood what was said, so there is no 6 p.m. deadline. But, Melissa, that doesn't matter because as of 9 o'clock this morning, people that are still living in this park, in this encampment, are deemed to be trespassing. That was the purpose of serving the trespass notice on Friday. Those in the encampment who were served notice were advised that by 9 o'clock this morning, if they didn't leave, they would be found to be trespassing. So on that note, Howard's going to show you off in the distance, there are some tents that the City of Toronto are taking down. Those tents belong to people that were in this park when the trespass notice was served. They have taken the city up on their offer and have gone into a shelter. So those tents are coming down only because there's nobody living in them. As far as the 7 people that are still here in the park, they aren't leaving. And they said they had a meeting today with the City of Toronto. The city And I have to tell you, the city's been working diligently in a very sensitive sort of approach as well, trying to come up with a positive solution that would satisfy all 7 of these people. But after this meeting this afternoon, they flat out rejected the city's offer for them to go into shelters. Many of them said to me that they've had experiences in shelters in the past, and they are violent, they've been assaulted, and they've had their things stolen. So they don't want a rinse and repeat. Not my words, these are words from one of the people I spoke with. That being that they go into a shelter, then they're back on the streets again, and now they're starting this all over again. So they are looking for some permanent housing. I don't know how plausible or even possible that is for the city to do this right away, but that is the demands that are being asked by these 7 people. So they said they are going to stay here under the threat of being removed forcibly under the Trespass to Property Act if it came to that. But I got a feeling that the city is going to work very hard to try to get something in place for these 7 people who are refusing to leave and refusing to go into a shelter. Here's more from Cece. She is one of the people that attended this meeting this afternoon, and she was my eyes and ears behind the ropes, if you will, provided us with all this information. And here's more from the City of Toronto as well. Let's listen to both.
We do have backup options in place that we have firm beliefs that we have options to move to, but from what we've seen so far, the threat of 6 o'clock seems more like a open threat than a real problem itself. It seems that it's just another one of the games that the Encampment office is trying to use to put pressure on us.
I think people can empathize that anyone could be living in an encampment, right? And I think that's the important part of this plan. It's about a human-first approach. So that's why we've been here for 7 months. That's why we've been here since February, because these are very human and unique circumstances for people, and the approach is intended to be a human-first approach.
So just to repeat, what Cece said there was not accurate. She obviously misunderstood what the city was saying, because I just got clarification from the city once again that there is no 6 o'clock deadline. But having said that, these people are trespassing as of 9 o'clock this morning. So with regards to removing them, and I don't think it's going to get to that, but there is an arrest authority under the Trespass to Property Act, which allows for police officers to remove people, physically remove them if they refuse to leave, and a peace officer, could be a security guard acting as an agent for the City of Toronto, also have that same arrest authority to physically remove people. I do not think, guys, it's going to come down to that. I just got this feeling that the city are going to work as diligently as they can to come up with a humane and dignified sort of response and solution to help these 7 people as they ask them to leave the park. So again, no 6 o'clock deadline. That was misunderstood.
Okay, we're going to keep an eye on the situation, Steve. Appreciate that update. Let's check in on the commute now with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa Tsiayubois. Adj.
Yeah, Melissa, still watching quite a few issues that are piling up on the 401 West. We'll start through Mississauga on the westbound 401. It's the exit ramp that takes you to Dixie. Pretty much right at the top of the ramp. They moved the camera, but it's just behind these trees. It's the 2 right lanes that are blocked following a collision that is still being cleaned up. Then further east on the 401, this is in the Express, actually, just as you make your way past the Allen. It's the right lane that is blocked at this collision. More problems to deal with in Scarborough. This is the eastbound 401, also in the Express. This is just as you make your way through Morningside. Collision itself off to the shoulder, but that right lane is blocked with emergency crews, and the bigger problems that have been really impacting the drive as you head into Durham. Eastbound on the 401 in the Express at Whites Road, multi-vehicle collision still there tying up the 3 left lanes. One other issue that's happening on the southbound 400, just as you make your way south to Finch, ongoing collision, not creating too much of a delay, but that left lane and shoulder is blocked. On city streets, crews on scene of a collision on Duffren just west of the 401. I'll send it back to you both.
All right, CP24's traffic specialist Adjoa Tsiayubois. Fire crews, they are on the scene. This is in Scarborough this hour after a fire behind a busy plaza.
Chopper 24 now over the scene of Markham Plaza at Eglinton and Markham Road. Toronto Fire responded to this area just before 5 p.m. The fire was in a storage trailer. Smoke and flames could be seen coming from the roof when they arrived. No injuries reported here.
Well, a Toronto man is facing charges following a terrifying situation. This was caught on camera.
OPP releasing video today of a driver going the wrong way on the 401. It happened in Milton.
Okay, for details, let's go live to CP24. CJ Lou. CJ.
Bakari, Melissa, this was a frightening situation for those drivers on the road, and police really stressing the importance of being vigilant in this situation, because you never know when there's going to be a wrong way driver. But they released this dash cam footage that shows you just how milliseconds made a difference and how scary the situation was. This was on the 401 westbound lanes on Sunday, September 7th, around 6 o'clock in Milton, around James Snow Parkway area. You see the cars driving westbound, and then out of nowhere, a vehicle pops up in the center lane, driving the wrong direction, driving very fast as well. Police tell us this car sideswiped several cars, was swerving before hitting a cement light pole and then crashing. The driver then tried to run away, but police were able to catch him a short time later and arrest him. And now police say a 21-year-old man from Toronto is facing a number of charges, including dangerous driving, failing to remain at the scene, and driving the wrong way on a divided highway. Police are also looking into the state of his sobriety at this time to see if he was impaired, so additional charges could be coming. But police really saying in this situation that it is important to be vigilant. Milliseconds made the difference here. The driver only had a flash of a second to make an evasive move to try to avoid that driver. But here's more from OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt on what took place here.
Well, the driver was going, again, high rates of speed, weaving through traffic, sideswiped several vehicles before he actually lost control and went into a concrete light standard abutment on the highway. At that point, he fled the scene. Callers at the scene reported his direction of travel. Mississauga OPP were able to locate that driver a short distance away, take him into custody, and he's now facing criminal charges with additional charges pending.
Now, police couldn't say exactly how fast the driver was going, but they say he was driving quite quickly. And even at that speed, if there had been a collision, this would have been a head-on collision that would have certainly led to fatalities. And police really saying the situation could have been a lot worse, because this happened while there was still light outside, there was no rain, clear driving conditions, and really just seconds made the difference here. So Bakari, Melissa, police really stressing the importance of being attentive on the road. That seconds really make a life and death difference here.
Yeah, that video certainly is very alarming. Thank you so much for that, CJ. Appreciate the update. 3 people have been arrested in 2 home invasions in Vaughan in the last several weeks.
New York police releasing details of the investigation dubbed Project Timer. It was launched after 2 separate home invasions on Timber Creek Boulevard. This is August 31st, and then on September 10th. In both incidents, multiple armed suspects forced their way into the homes. And in one case, police say that a firearm was involved. So the suspects left both scenes in a dark SUV. Yesterday, police found that vehicle near Yorkley Avenue and Scarlett Road as the 5 occupants were preparing to break into another home. 3 were taken into custody. 2 of them got away.
22-year-old Zachary Boyce of no fixed address, 21-year-old Jacoy Montague of Toronto, and 22-year-old Jaquel Watson of Ajax are charged with armed robbery, disguise with intent, and weapons offenses.
We're asking residents in the area of Scarlett Road and Yorkley Avenue to be mindful of their property, review video surveillance. If they see anything that is out of the ordinary, if they find property that shouldn't be there, we are asking that they contact our investigators and we will follow up with them.
And police believe that the 3 men arrested may be involved in other incidents around the GTA, so investigators have not yet released a description of the other 2 outstanding suspects.
York police have released video of 2 suspects wanted in a Vaughan arson.
And the video shows 2 suspects outside of a business. This is in a plaza near Center Street in Duffren before 1:30 yesterday morning. So the glass door, it was smashed before an accelerant was used to start a fire. There were no injuries, witnesses, or anyone with information. You're asked to contact York Police.
It is 5:41, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, protesters gathered downtown today alleging mismanagement at City Hall. Those details are coming up. A coalition of community groups rallied downtown today to protest what they call mismanagement at City Hall. So the residents claim that there's a crisis of leadership on a host of taxpayer-funded files.
We pay our taxes. We're paying record-breaking taxes. We want a good-looking city. We want a clean city.
The residents say they have concerns about the direction of the city when it comes to shelters, bus lanes, bike lanes, and more. They argue the quality of life in Toronto has deteriorated under Mayor Olivia Chow's administration.
The city is doing what they believe is right for everyone instead of listening to what people are actually asking for.
I think it's ideological. I think that's part of it, and it's refusal.
It's not about left or right. It's about what works, and it's about building communities and being about balance and listening to concerns from residents.
The mayor's office says that Chow is focused on building more affordable housing, fixing the aging TTC, and addressing crime by hiring more police officers and investing in youth.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre sparring over the upcoming federal budget during question period today, with Poilievre accusing the Liberals of introducing $40 billion in additional spending in 6 months.
Deficits drive up inflation, grocery prices, housing costs, and interest rates. They drive out investment from our country and uncertainty that destabilizes our economy. That's why every other prime minister in Canadian history has announced the deficit at the beginning of the fiscal year. We're 6 months in. Does he even know the size of his own deficit?
The member opposite, the leader of the opposition, just mentioned interest rates. One thing I know is that Canadian interest rates are much lower than American interest rates. They're lower because this country's fiscal situation is strong, because this government has a plan to grow this economy, and we will keep doing it. We'll keep it.
And this comes after Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne announced that the budget's going to be tabled November 4th. He says the fiscal plan is to offer a generational investment in Canada's future.
The Bank of Canada has cut its key rate by 25 basis points, bringing it down to 2.5%.
It comes after the annual inflation rate rose in August to 1.9%. That's up from 1.7% in July. Most economists expected today's cut. This is as the economy has weakened in recent months due to the trade war with the U.S. and the slowing labor market. And Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem explained the factors in deciding to cut the rate after holding in for 3 straight announcements.
The Canadian economy is being affected by both U.S. tariffs and the unpredictability of U.S. trade policy. GDP declined 1.6% in the second quarter, largely as expected. Exports to the United States fell sharply, both as payback from the pull forward of activity in the first quarter and because tariffs are dampening U.S. demand. Tariffs are having a profound effect on several key sectors, including auto, steel, and aluminum industries. Chinese tariffs on canola, pork, and seafood, new U.S. tariffs on copper, and higher U.S. tariffs on softwood lumber will spread the direct impacts further.
The big banks have responded by cutting their prime rate by a quarter point to 4.7%. That's effective tomorrow.
Right now it's 5:47, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
The Blue Jays are back in action tonight, taking on Tampa and looking to keep their hot streak going. Can they do it? I think so. We'll tee their game against the Rays coming up next. The Maple Leafs open training camp today as they prepare for the new season.
Okay, let's go live to CP24's Phil Perkins for more on how the team is moving ahead after losing star winger Mitch Marner. Phil.
Bakari, Melissa, I'm not going to try to mention the man who wore 16. I'm going to talk about moving on to the future. You know, one of the narratives right now is, okay, you know, in the playoffs, didn't turn out the way they wanted. However, they're the only team really to test the eventual champions, the Florida Panthers. They brought them to 7 games. Yes, they lost 6-1 at home, but this is a brand new season. They have 4 new players that bring a lot of truculence, if you remember that term from eons ago with another chapter of the Toronto Maple Leafs history. And so they are excited for the next year. It's a blank slate. Here's Coach Craig Berube. He's now in his 2nd year as head coach. And also Austin Matthews, the birthday boy. This is what he had to say.
We got to get over that hump for sure. That's a big part of it. You know, it's bringing in some new players, I think, is important. We did that. So that'll help, in my opinion. But it's just keep working and teaching these guys and trying to get them mentally dialed in for those games. You know, I feel like, You come to Toronto in a big game at home, it's a lot of pressure. We all know that, but we got to all be able to deal with it better than we did.
At the end of the day, your teammates, you're also friends, and he'll be a friend of all of ours for life. So, those are always tough conversations to have, but at the end of the day, he made his decision, and we wish him nothing but the best moving forward, and we're moving on. Like I said, bringing in some new faces, some new guys that we're super excited about. I can't really dwell on the past.
Right, let's not dwell on the past. Let's talk about the future. Anthony Stolarz, as you remember, got hurt during the playoffs last year. He is going to be back between the pipes, and he's set to be a very rich man. The Maple Leafs picked him up as the backup from the Florida Panthers. They paid him around $2.5 million. He's expecting to sign a new contract, which will be longer and more lucrative, hopefully before puck drop on the first regular season game. That's October 8th against the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know what dollar figure it might be, but he's 6'6", so he might need some extra money to buy extra large suits.
Yeah, that tailoring will really put you over the edge there. I looked it up, too. You mentioned the birthday boy, Austin Matthews, 28 years old he is today.
Unbelievable. We've watched him grow up right before our eyes. I remember he scored 4 goals in his debut. He was a baby.
Yeah.
20, not even 30 yet. Just the sky's the limit.
Definitely. Thanks so much for that, Phil. Appreciate it. Let's turn to baseball now. The Blue Jays will be looking for their 7th win in a row after another dramatic finish at last night's game.
And the 0-2. Got him!
And the Jays are known for their comebacks. But last night, it was Toronto that had to hold off the Rays, who had 2 on base and just 1 out in the 9th. Reliever Jeff Hoffman got the job done. The Jays win 6-5, their 6th straight victory. Kevin Gausman gets the start tonight. And TSN radio host Matt Haas talked to CP24 Breakfast this morning. He says that he thinks the Jays can take it all the way this year.
Absolutely, they can win the World Series. They have the pitching. They have enough offense. My big concern is Jeff Hoffman. Fastball isn't what it used to be. It's declining. Is that just a blip? For the Jays to win, they're going to need a dominant bullpen, and that's going to be the one big question. We've seen the Rangers win the World Series without one, but again, it may all come down to the bullpen, but they can win.
I like his confidence there. Well, with the win last night, the Jays maintained their 5-game lead on those Yankees, who beat the Twins 10-9. The Red Sox fell 2-1 to the A's, so they fall 7 games behind the Jays in the American League East.
Right now it's 5:54, 25 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, from BC to Burlington, more on a cross-Canada journey and who will benefit from this epic ride. Raptors 905, the NBA G League affiliate of the Toronto Raptors, is giving local basketball talent a shot at the pros.
Open tryouts are being held Saturday at the OVO Athletic Center. Raptors 905 head coach Drew Jones joined us on CP24 Breakfast to talk about what it takes to make the cut.
We all saw who was the league MVP this past season. This community is flooded with talent, and I think the way that this sport is growing within this community, I mean, it's awesome. So in terms of the level of talent and the ability of these players, that's why you leave no stone unturned. The talent is out there. It's our job to go seek and hunt that talent.
Some dreams might be coming true. To register for the open tryout, head to raptors905.com.
A Burlington man is biking across the country to honor his late partner after she died from breast cancer.
Callum Norris is making the trek for his partner, Abby. He's beginning the 4,000-kilometer ride in Kitsilano, BC, and ending back at his hometown in Burlington. Money raised during the ride will go towards Abby's foundation, which will support aspiring artists at Burlington Central High School. Norris joined CP24 Breakfast to talk about Abby and the journey he's doing in her honor.
The wonderful scenery has been one thing, but that's something that will continue to remain. And a lot of people kept saying it's going to be the people that you're going to meet along the way. And so far, and like I say, I'm 5 days in, I've managed to meet some really lovely folks that are really interested in what we're doing at the foundation. And truthfully and selfishly, it's just really nice for me just to be able to talk about Ab and to be able to share the story of what Ab had done previously and what we're now going to do for her legacy. So it's the wonderful people in this world that continue to, pop up in various places in these small towns and these cities that I've visited.
Norris says that he expects to be back in Burlington October 17th. He's encouraging others to join him on the ride for Abby.
What a beautiful tribute. It is 5:58, 25 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.